Live.
Welcome. We are here today live and in person. Excited to be here with you to introduce Super Improvers, which is one of my favorite strategies to use for whole brain teaching. My name is Krystal Long, and I am a whole brain executive board member. And I'm joined here with Weston and Megan. Megan, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself for me, please?
Yes, ma'am. Hi, everyone. We are so glad you're here. My name is Megan Russell. I am a platinum certified whole brain teaching instructor, and I am the lead instructional coach at an inner city school in Virginia.
Welcome, welcome, Megan. And then Weston, our whole brain bear, is going to be, he'll introduce himself, but then we're going to kick him back to Facebook because he's going to be manning the chat for us. Weston, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Weston Lamb Costantino. I'm a gold certified whole brain teacher. I teach elementary music here in Wyoming, and this is exciting to be here presenting on Super Improvers.
Now, Weston, you forgot one very important accolade. You might be some kind of whole brain teaching. I'll let you. I'm not stealing your thunder, buddy, but I'm not letting you get away with not telling everybody that.
Oh, that's embarrassing. Thank you, Megan. I am the whole brain teacher of the year with my friend Susie St. Lawrence.
Woohoo! Two absolute superstars, and we are so blessed to have them as a part of our team. All right, Weston, let's kick you backstage. We are going to see you on the flip side, all right? All right, guys. So, as I said, my name is Krystal Long, and we are going to be presenting out of our newest book here, The Whole Brain Teaching for Challenging Kids, the second edition. This book has absolutely revolutionized. The first one did revolutionize my teaching. And then the upgrades in this book are just outstanding. I kind of compare it to my own children. You know, they're the same kids, but as they grow up, they change so much. So the new additions to this book are really powerful. Wouldn't you say, Megan?
Hold.
Yes, girl, you got it. All right. So let's go ahead and jump in. So this is my first time, so bear with me, everybody. We're going to have some fun here. This is the Super Improver. Hold on just a second. Give me a second. So this is our display here. I'm going to navigate from this side of it real quick. So we are here on chapter 10, and chapter 10, Megan, I believe chapter 10 starts on page 88. And so if you are following along with us, you can go ahead and flip to 88 and do some little, dog ear on those page corners, because that's where we're going to start today. So the biggest thing, Megan, here is that with Super Improvers, we need to make sure that we are really kind of thinking about our students and their learning abilities in our classroom. And one thing that I definitely notice is that in a traditional classroom, Megan, we know that our students, they're just kind of hanging back. They're more passive than active in their learning. And what we want to do in whole brain teaching is, of course, beyond teaching their brain, we want to find ways to really ramp up that excitement and to really bring in powerful ways to get students excited to take ownership of their own learning. So we do that by playing some of the different games that we have. The first game, or the first thing that I want to talk about, though, with this one, Megan, is that we have to really shift our thinking, okay? So we're going to shift that thinking past what our students would do when they're just sitting there getting by with their natural ability, and how we're going to now shift it to make it so that in order for them to get better, they're going to grow, they're going to improve, and we're going to use this game called Super Improver. So Megan, kind of give that back to me again.
Thank you, Crystal. So, in traditional education, this is kind of the gesture that we use for traditional education because it's kind of boring. We kind of fall asleep in traditional education because we're just sitting there listening for lectures. What we are trying to do is exactly what Crystal was talking about. We are really trying to shift our thinking because the traditional grading system is boring. Sally gets an A. If she gets an A in August, she's probably going to get an A all the way through. Whereas you might have someone who gets an F and they probably get an F, maybe a C or a D all the way through. So with Super Improver, this beautiful, robust game that the beautiful Crystal is going to tell us about more in just a minute, it really does change our perspective. We are going to reward for improvements, no matter how big, no matter how small, no matter where that student starts the race.
All right. Awesome job. Thank you so much.
You're
So
welcome.
I'm going to tell you a quick little story here, Megan, and everybody else out there in our awesome audience. So we have two people here. Okay. We have our amazing Fast Felicia, and then we have our slow Sammy. And Megan, that first day of school, they're going to race. Okay. And guess what? Fast Felicia, she's taking off. She's going as fast as she possibly can. And then slow Sammy, he's kind of turtling along the way. Okay. Well, guess what? Fast Felicia laps him. She laps everyone else in class too. And slow Sammy's just sitting here trudging along, really kind of slow. Well, guess what happens, Megan? Fast Felicia keeps lapping, keeps lapping. It's not a fair race. Okay. What we have here now is that Fast Felicia, she knows she's got it. She doesn't have to work for it. That's her natural ability. But slow Sammy, starts to refuse to run that race. And this is exactly what we're talking about, what you were saying there, Megan, about those students who now are just kind of taking the back seat to their learning and they're not as excited. So tell me a little bit here about slow Sammy and Fast Felicia.
Thank you, Crystal. So slow Sammy starts the year and he's going slow and he keeps on going slow and then he keeps on getting maybe D's or U's or F's and he's thinking, you know what? I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm going to lose anyway. Why in the world would I work hard if I'm just going to keep on failing? And then you've got that Fast Felicia and did I get that right? I don't know if I got that
You
right.
got it.
And she is rolling and she knows she's got it. And so that is going to automatically motivate her to continue to doing well. So what happens is Fast Felicia continues to perform at a very high level, and then slow Sammy continues to be slow. What is motivating him to do better in the traditional classroom? Nothing.
There isn't. And so that's where we have to change that kind of that thinking on this. So everybody, I want you now to think about our two students again. We've got Fast Felicia and Slow Sammy, and they're running the race. But this time, instead of running the race against each other, they're running the race against themselves. So now Fast Felicia, well, she's just going to keep running. But slow Sammy, because he is slowly working on his own, he's now getting rewarded for what he's doing and what he's improving for. That also then forces Felicia to have to run even faster or to improve. So now we have two students who are starting to improve together on their own personal goals. All right, Megan, how are we going to change that script a little bit?
Thank you so much, Crystal. So the beautiful part about Super Improver, a buzzword that we hear all the time in education, is differentiating, meeting individual student needs. And guys, this is exactly what the Super Improver game does. For your slow Sammy, who's having a really hard time improving, those might be your bubble kids, those kids that are getting remediation services. This game is really going to help him go a little bit quicker. And for maybe your gifted kids or your higher kids, this game is also going to motivate them to continue their race, but they're going to run it faster because they might see slow Sammy. Well, my goodness, slow Sammy, he's getting all this extra help and he's getting more Super Improver stars than me. Au contraire, that's not going to happen. So this game is going to be great for your slower students and also your quicker students or more gifted students.
Yes, you've got it. All right, well, let's just jump in here. So we know now that we're going to be working really hard to really reward for that improvement and not the natural ability of the student. So here we have just a digital display. So I want everybody, as I'm making these gestures, I want you to kind of go along with us. Everyone is going to start on that first level. Okay, so we're going to start off with our Super Improver board. And everyone's going to start on that turtle white color. Easy peasy, just a card up on a wall. What's the first thing that we're going to do here, Megan?
We are just going to put that super improver wall up and make sure that every single player has a white card.
You've got it, girl. Now notice we also have this beautiful colored level ladder on the side here. And that colored level ladder, Megan, what we do in the very beginning is we put all those names up and we put all of the levels in ascending order all the way up to Alpha Hawk love level. And we're going to lock all those up to really amp up the gamification within our classroom. All right, Megan, what's that second part that we're going to do?
All right, thank you, Krystal. So then along with each of the individual name star cards for your students, you're going to make sure that you've got those levels, ascending levels, and you are going to start with that turtle white all the way up to that alpha hawk so that they can see the levels that they're going to go to. Another thing that you mentioned was that those levels are locked. You guys, you don't have to tell them every single thing. Spoiler alert. What I love to tell my students is, if you want to come back and unlock it, you've got to be the first to go through that level, or you just got to come back for some more tomorrow. Leave them on the edge of their seats. You don't have to give them all the secrets. And that is the point of the locks, my friends.
Yes. All right. So we have our star cards, we have our wall, we have our leveled ladder that has been locked up. So now let's take a look at how we're going to work on this. So once we have it all set up, you can choose between two different kinds of displays. The first display that we have is the Super Improver K through 4, and that's the levels that we're showing over here on this side of the colored level ladder. So we have that colored level ladder. Everyone make number 1. We got that colored level ladder. We have number 2, those student star cards that everyone's going to start on with white. We have the third step in this, Megan, now, which is we have to give them some kind of goal for that improvement. Now, spoiler alert, everybody, the easiest way to start this is for a whole class goal. Everybody in the class, let's start out with one goal, following directions quickly. All right, so if we all are working towards following directions quickly, as the teacher, it is so much easier for me to be able to spot and give those stars out to students. All right, Megan, give that all back to me, gal.
Woo, Krystal, I'm starting to sweat over here. I don't know if anybody else is sweating watching this, but Krystal, she's good. She's making me sweat. The first step of this is making sure that you've got that colored leveled ladder. Keep in mind that your first level is going to be the white turtle. You're going to ascend all the way up to that alpha hawk. Do not be overwhelmed by these levels. There is a free place, TPT, that you can find all of these things. So don't feel like you have to memorize all of these levels. Krystal, you left that part out. Just kidding. And then the second part is those student star cards. You're going to want to make sure that each one of your students has one for themselves for each one of these levels. And then the third one is improvement goals. And I'm telling you, there's a reason why this Krystal Long is on that executive board. Great idea with setting one improvement goal. And then that way you're looking for that one goal in every single one of your students so that you are being very, very consistent and that you're having high expectations. If you are out there, set the bar high and those babies will rise.
You've got it. We're gonna expect what we are going to accept. Okay. So if we want those students to be way up here, do not accept it. Do not accept it until they are where you expect them to be. All right. Thank you so much, Megan. That was awesome. So the other thing that I really want to point out here, Megan, look at those little star cards. So we've got all these students' names. Okay. Who else's name should probably be up there?
The teacher! Woo!
Yes. And I even set goals for myself that my students love to give stars to. So I don't know about you guys, but I always forget about attendance. It's just one of those things. It was my number one goal this year. And so every time that I remembered to do attendance, my students would start to key in. Miss Long, did you do attendance? Yes, I did it. They're like, you get a star. So it's all fun and games, but put yourself up on that ladder and show your students how much you too are improving as well. All right, Megan. So now we know we've got, everyone make my gestures. We've got that colored leveled ladder that we're going to lock up. We have our student star cards. Everyone starts on white. We have a goal of what we're trying to attain, and sneaky alert here. Have them all start on the same goal so it's easy to spot that improvement. Make sure that your name is up on that wall because you too are going to be modeling for your students what it looks like when you are improving. So, Megan, how are we going to earn these stars? What are we going to do here?
Y'all, we are going to improve on anything and everything. Those improvements can be academic, those improvements can be behaviors. I have even given a super improver star for pushing a chair in more quietly. Anything goes.
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that we notate this up on that colored leveled ladder and on those star cards is anytime we spot students with those improvements, we're going to give them a star. And notice on this display here, it says the student's name, and then it'll give, oh, sorry, let me go on to this next one. It will give how many stars that student has actually attained here. So notice next to student number 13, how many super improver stars does student number 13 have here, Megan?
1.
Yes. And in level number 1, we need 5 stars in order for that student to level up. In level number 2, we also need 5 stars to level up. Level number 3, Megan, how many stars do they need for that one?
Oh, I think that's where we changed it. Is it 10?
No,
Oh, is it still 5?
We only need
I'm
5.
still cool.
You're still cool. So those first 3 levels are 5 each. And each time that student reaches those 5 stars, you're going to change their color to the next level's color. So as you can see here, student number 1 has already reached all 5 because what color are they, Megan?
Student number 1, you said?
Yes, student number 1.
So they are blue.
Yes, they are blue. And that signifies that they've now reached to the second part of this leveled ladder. And as the students keep those stars going up there, then guess what's going to happen, Megan? They're going to level up. And the exciting part of seeing this is, Megan, we're not giving them anything for this, right? Are we giving them anything if they level up?
They're getting a star. That's enough.
Because guess what? Their mama, if they're sitting there playing that little video game, sitting on back, hey, guess what? Their mama's not over there. Hey, I'll give you a cookie if you make it to the next level. Oh, that's so awesome. Let's go out and get some ice cream. Megan, is that how they're working for video games?
Oh, no. You see, the beauty of video games is the sheer joy of leveling up, the sheer joy of saying, you know what? All my hard work got me to level 2. And this Super Improver game really mimics that. So if you are listening and you be going to the Dollar General, go ahead and just stop that. If you be listening out there, I know that is not good grammar. I'm a little Southern. It's okay. We like to have fun over here. If you are doing that Oriental trading, you just go ahead and put that magazine in the shredder, because if you start playing this game, no more junk store treasures.
Love it. No more. Get rid of it, everybody. And not only that, but guess what else this beautiful colored level ladder gets rid of? You know, Megan, those clip down, clip up charts that people use in their, oh, I know. I'm sorry. That was, those are bad words in whole brain teaching. We no longer have to have a level up, clip down, clip up. Okay. This becomes the ultimate motivator. Your students are going to be asking you how they can earn stars. We're not bringing them down. We're giving them a goal, and then we're rewarding them for that goal. So Megan, I love, and it's just so important that we understand what this gets rid of and then what this offers to our classroom, which changes that culture. So we talked about the leveled ladder. We talked about the star cards. We talked about putting your name up there, Megan. We talked about what happens when they level up. But other than just their card, we really like to do a fun little celebration when our students level up. So Megan, what did you do in your classroom when your students would level on up?
Well, what I would do is I would let whoever filled up, let's say they're on the turtle and they are the first student to get to 5, to get all the way through that level, Krystal. They would be the one to unlock the next level. And let me tell you, that is like giving those kids $50 or more. They love to be the one to unlock. So we made a huge deal of that. I also did a 30-second dance party. What have you done, Krystal?
Yeah, girl. So we had so much fun with unlocking, just like you did. That first person up there got to take down that lock, and everyone in the class, I'm telling you, you could do like a sneak attack and pull it down, and they'd be like, and then you put it back up, sneak attack and pull it down. And they got so excited. They're on the edge of their seats. But we also did a 30-second dance party because who doesn't love to dance and celebrate?
Well,
So
let me ask you a question for those listening out there. Why would I not increase that time? There's probably some people out there thinking, well, Krystal, 30 seconds is enough. Why is it really important that we keep those celebrations short, my friend?
We want it to not interrupt our normal classroom schedule. So we want to reward our students for this. We want to make sure that they are feeling that empowerment of leveling up, but we also want to make sure that we're not dipping into the time that we need for our academic focus as well. We want it to be attracting, not distracting, right?
And if it's 2 or 3 minutes, it's just not as much fun. Same thing as Christmas. My little boy is 8 and he loves Christmas. And he said, Mama, why can't it be Christmas every day? Well, buddy, then it wouldn't be as special. So that 30 seconds, I truly think for all the reasons you mentioned and just the way that our brain works is really like perfect amount of time.
You've got it. And I'll tell you what, I did go out and purchase one of those 30-second dance party buttons because it's fun and it has like 6 different songs on it. So it never gets too boring with the same songs. But other people have also created really cool playlists that have different level up songs for their students. And it's just a great way for your students to all really kind of get together and join in on that fun. So Megan, we've gone through the level ladder. We've talked about the student star cards. We talked about what happens when students level up. But I have a small fact here for you, Megan. Small, but it's really big. Remember how we talked about not having to get all those little trinkets and those things to give away? On this leveled ladder, we have 275 improvement awards per student in your classroom that they can get by the end of the year. 275.
Say what?
What was that, Megan? How many was that?
Say what?
Incredible. 275 ways that your students become motivated to work even harder. And of course, you can find this information and all of the different excitement on page number 97 if you're following along in your book. So, Megan, we've talked about everything so far. You want to give this all kind of back to me real quick?
You got it, girl. The first thing that you're going to have is you're going to have that rainbow display of your levels, starting with a turtle, ascending all the way up to the tippy top, which is Alpha Hawk, which is what we aspire to be. The next thing that you're going to have is those star cards for each one of those students. Another thing that you're going to have is make sure that you include yourself in there. That's very, very, very important. Did I get it all?
You got it, girl. And then once we've leveled them up, well, we just keep enjoying the fun. But once we get to that point where we've got the basics, Megan, we're going to start to bring in one of my favorite parts, and that's the dice. All right. If you are out there, hit that like button if you love dice. We're obsessed over here, right? So I got this one off of Amazon. It's a squishy dice. I love it because it's fun. It's exciting, and it adds variety to our typical dice that we have in our classroom. The cool thing about this dice now, Megan, is students can start to get into that part of their giving, of their kindness, where we're going to be rolling for bonus stars. So we start to spot this thing going on in our classroom where a whole bunch of students are starting to improve. We're going to break out this dice. And it might go with something a little bit like this. Hey, y'all, I'm noticing we've got some amazing improvement going on in this classroom, but I think we could have a little bit more fun. So we bring out this dice. Now, Megan, tell me what the different numbers on our dice stand for here before I keep going.
I hope if you're watching this, you're getting as excited as I am. Even if you are a whole brain teaching veteran, if you roll a 1 or a 2 or a 3, then you are going to be a happy camper. You are going to get that bonus star. And let me tell you, there's 275 of them because it's a long year. So if you're out there thinking 275, I promise you'll get some of them there. And then a 4 or a 5 is we've got grit. We don't quit, which I absolutely love because that is teaching our kids, you know what? You don't always win. That's a great community builder. And then a 6 is a reroll. So I noticed using the dice roll, and I still use them as an instructional coach, kids love a 6, that reroll, just as much as a 1 or a 2 or a 3.
You've got it, girl. So, as she said, a 1, 2, or a 3, that's a bonus. A 4 or 5, we've got grit, we don't quit. And a 6 is an automatic re-roll. Teacher needs a new pair of shoes. Oh, yeah. So, we use this to then allow students to either increase how many stars they are getting, or they can get that bonus star, keep their original star, and gift a star off to another student. Now, Megan, I don't know if you've been in a classroom lately, but I've got to tell you, the power of gifting stars away is even more of a motivation to our students. It is absolutely incredible. So, Megan, you just did an amazing job, okay? You improved on ear funtricity and that fantastic face and all these gestures. So, Megan, we're going to roll the dice for you. Show me how excited you are. Oh, no, come on. We got to have more excitement. No, we got to have, yeah, girl, that's what we're looking for. And we rolled a
3. Oh, yeah. I get the bonus star.
So, Megan, you just earned another star, okay? You can keep a star. You can gift a star. You can keep them both or you can gift them both. What do you want to do with those stars, girl?
You know, I am going to gift both of them to you, Krystal Long, because you have taken this new StreamYard and you are just doing a fantastic job of something that I don't really know a lot about. So you're awesome. You get both the stars. And let me tell you, when you open up this option for your students, some of you out there are probably thinking, huh? My kids will never give away these stars. You are going to be so surprised at the kids who give them away. I've seen kids give them away to others to help them level up. And here's another beautiful thing. If your students actually just see another student give away their star, there's actually science and research that would back when they see it, they get those same positive chemical releases. And then that's going to help them actually give as well. So it is just all around a beautiful thing.
You've got it. It's like that pay it forward where one person buys someone's coffee and the next person does it again. And it just creates this trend within your classroom where students are really, really getting excited. I have a cute little story, Megan. I'll keep it brief. Last week of school, okay? We're finished with academics. We're just having fun. We're playing games, a lot of logic and puzzle competition kind of games. And I had 2 students who could absolutely be able to make it to the end. They were at Gold Hawk, but at Gold Hawk, you need 40 stars, Megan. And it is so, so hard to get there. So not only did these students in my classroom see and recognize that these students were really close, they also decided to gift any of their stars away to these students because they wanted to get them to Gold Hawk. They wanted to get them to Peregrine Falcon. They wanted them to be up on our Alpha Hawk wall. And Megan, I've got to tell you, within the last 2 days of school, we had 2 students who made it all the way up to Alpha Hawk. It was incredible. And they did that because the other students in the classroom recognized their improvement, their excitement, everything about it. But not only were they excited that they were giving stars away, they were excited to see somebody rise up into those rafters, and really people that deserved that recognition got that recognition. How cool is that, Megan?
It's pretty incredible. And I think you hit on something that may be a question and it may be coming, but the motivation for getting those 275 stars and getting all the way up to the top is having your picture on your teacher's wall for ever. I've even told students when I retire, I'm going to take all of my Alpha Hawks, I'm going to put them right in the middle of my fireplace.
I love it. I love it. So yes, as you just said, Megan, the tippy top of what we're trying to get to here is those students to become those Alpha Hawks. Now, if you've caught any of the other lives, you've seen what an Alpha Hawk is. That Alpha Hawk is somebody who resembles somebody that you goal to be like. They live for others and not themselves. And so I really think about my students those 2 that were voted up into that prestigious area because they were really seen by their peers as being the ones that resembled Alpha Hawks. Now, Megan, I've also got to say, one of those kids, guess what? My biggest rascal of the school year.
And
Why
that's the
did he make
power
it
and
there?
beauty of whole brain
Uh-huh.
teaching
Yep.
and Super Improver. Every racer wins, whether they are the most beloved rascal or the sweetest Sally you've ever had. This is really set up to meet the needs of every single one of your students.
You've got it, girl. Absolutely. So, like Megan said, once they've reached that top, you take their little picture and you keep that picture up in your Hall of Fame, my wall of fame, I call it, where students come back and are now looking for their name or looking for other people that they knew who made it to the top of that. And what's really cool is this year I move into seventh grade and I have kids that were on my Alpha Hawk wall in third grade 4 years ago, and they're now going to get to see their picture up on my Alpha Hawk wall later on. So, so cool. All
Beautiful.
right.
If you
So,
stay
Megan,
in the same school, Krystal, you could also have your previous living legends come down and talk to your other students and talk to help them out. How can you become a living legend? And on the fireplace with Weston.
love it, love it, love it. So, Megan, what happens if we have like a teacher who either finds the animal? Oh, Megan, tell me I'm still cool.
You still cool, girl. You still
Oh,
cool.
I forgot to mention this. We start at the very bottom with our little turtle, okay? And we slowly increase all the way up to our cheetahs, our marlins, our hawks. And we do this because of the natural speed of that animal. So one of the ways that I really like to talk this up is we're going to start where we're really slow. And just like if we're trying to become a marathon runner, each time we're going to get a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster. And that's going to move us up to the next level. And once we increase our speed so much, the peregrine falcon is that ultimate quickness, that ultimate fast. So these are actually designed to go in order for how fast these animals go. Okay, Megan, will you remake that? Because I forgot it and it's a pretty important point.
So, if you are wondering how these different levels and these different animals were picked, just to echo what Krystal said, these are actually, they correlate with the speeds of the animals. So, if you look at the bottom level, the turtle is actually the slowest land animal on earth. And if you go all the way up to the top, that peregrine falcon is the fastest on the planet. So that is just one more hook and one more way to get these students excited about going peregrine falcon fast.
Love it. Yes. All right. So Megan, what happens if we have a teacher who maybe the animals just aren't quite their speed? Get it? Quite their speed.
Oh, their speed. That was pretty good, Krystal. Now, I'm going to give you a little teeny tiny hint. I'm not going to give it away, so stay tuned. As a football coach's wife, I am a huge fan of the secondary, the big dogs leveling system. It is sports. Oh yeah.
Yes. So we, instead of using the Alpha Hawk in the primary level, that lower elementary level with the animals, you can then bring in the sports and all of the competition. And these are designed as the way that you would see a normal sports person. So we started at that rookie level and we're going to be making our way all the way up until we get to that living legend. So it is a little bit different, but notice the colors on these ladders are exactly the same. Now, Megan, you might be asking, well, where do I get these ladders for? Well, Weston, do you mind popping in the chat if you haven't already, where they can go to find these awesome custom graphics that we can use for all of the different leveled ladders. Now, I will go out there and say, Megan, everything that Whole Brain Teaching makes is out there and ready to use. It's super simple. All you have to do is print it off, laminate it, put it up on your wall. But the other thing I want to tell everybody here is make sure you do not pay for anything that is on Teachers Pay Teachers that is a part of Whole Brain Teaching. All of our information is copywritten or copyright, and so you will not you should not pay for these because you can get all of this for free. And there are so many different people that even post things up there for free that are different kinds of ladders. I've seen Harry Potter, I've seen Disney, I've seen so many different ones out there. So you make sure that whatever you do, you just don't pay. All right, Megan, custom graphics come from Teachers Pay Teachers. What happens though if you are like me and you are departmentalized? So, Megan, this
Oh,
looks a
girl.
little bit different, doesn't it?
Yes, ma'am, it does. If you are departmentalized and you've been watching this and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I have like literally 350 students. You do, but what you're going to do is you are going to play one period or one class against another class so that you don't have to manage 500 cards.
Yes, you've got it. So notice here again, this group of students, this class period number one is only trying to get stars for their class improvement. But there is that little added competition that happens when the next class comes in and sees how many stars that class got before them. So again, everyone would start on white here. Each class is now broken up into their own card, basically. And so you'll see period one is on the second level, period two is at third string, period three is still at rookie, period four, they're also, excuse me, are at the second level. So we notate over on the side how many stars they've earned, and that actually correlates to the scoreboard that they have in that classroom. And that's a different topic, but this is the amount of stars that they have. But it follows that same thing where once they level up, then they get the next card. So, Megan, how is this similar and how is this different to the primary?
Thank you, Krystal. So this is the same in the fact that we want to motivate every single player and we are looking for improvement. What is different about this one is for your lower elementary, for your animals, you have a card for each student. In this one, if you are departmentalized, you have a star card that correlates with those levels for each one of your classes. Now, this is a very important point that I've seen kind of over on the chat. You don't want to be 4 or 5 or 6 levels apart, because if you do that, then that's not very motivating. That goes back to kind of our slow Sammy, right? If I'm already really slow and 5 levels behind, why in the world am I going to work hard? So that is a good point. You always want to make sure that you stay, even as the teacher or one period against another, within 3 levels. Do I have that right, Krystal?
You've got it. Yes, thank you. So, yeah, we want to keep these within 3 levels. And like she said, we want those games that are close. Total blowout games, especially in sports, they're no fun to watch. You get so far behind that there's no motivation to get any better or to try to win. I just think about those College World Series baseball games towards the end there. Woo, those were hard to watch. So yes, make sure that we keep that within 3 different levels. Now, Megan, the cool thing is that if you have a difference of 3 and you have students who are about to move on, that's going to take us to this part where we're going to start talking about those student nominations again. So now, instead of just taking the bonus stars and gifting them away, we can start to nominate students, have students nominate other students who are then able to bring those levels up. So say student number 1 is at Panda, and student number 2 is all the way at Black Marlin. Is that going to be very fun for them to be able to work within? No, but we're going to lock up student number 2, who is higher than everybody else. And we're going to say, now, any of the stars that you receive, you get to gift away to other people who you see improving. All right, let me say that again. We're locking up their level. We're locking up their card, okay? And this is kind of cool. They love being locked up. And whenever they see somebody improving or whenever they earn a star, they're going to gift that star away to somebody else. And sneaky alert here, they want to be able to move up the ladder. So they're often giving those stars away to the ones who are at that last little part that need to move up. All right, Megan, how are we going to make sure that we keep this game nice and close?
All right. Thank you, Krystal. So what we're going to do with this game to keep it nice and close, because we know the best games are like the overtime games, are 1 or 2 points apart. If I have somebody say on the top and they are on that 4th level above everybody else, we're going to lock them up. And then what we are going to do is we are going to give them the power to give away super improver stars as they see improvement, or if we still want to give that little boy or that little girl a super improver star, they can give it away. But I think the big key here is making sure that when they give the star away, that they are saying the improvement that they're seeing as they give those stars away.
You've got it. Just like you did with me, you told me why you were gifting those stars to me, and that becomes that connected part of our classroom where we're really creating that awesome culture. All right, so here are some of the sample displays that we have other teachers have put out, and there are more out there on the Super Improver Facebook page, and there are displays in the new book as well. Woo! And so here are two displays. These two here in the middle are actually the displays that I had in my classroom. So it shows how I started out with the colored level ladder completely locked up. And each time somebody new made it to that level, like you said, Megan, we would clip off that bottom part and it would show what the next level was. Now, on the picture on the left on this display, what I did is we used Starries, which is another one of our motivational games, to unlock the Super Improver wall. So this on the left-hand side shows what I had up on the wall when my students first came in my classroom to kind of amp up that excitement. And then you see the one on the right is after they unlocked Super Improver, and then we were able to put the star cards up. Now, I will also tell you, I already had all of those star cards up in white. I had another piece of black butcher paper right over the top of it. And then I just put those 10 locks. So each time we would win on the scoreboard, we would then unlock a level. And once all of those were unlocked, then I pulled that black butcher paper off and all of my student star cards were white, ready to go, so that we didn't have any lag time from game to game. So Megan, do you want to kind of knock down what I just explained there?
Yes. So Krystal has been kind enough to give us a peek into her amazing classroom. And so what she has explained here is she's explained all of her levels and how she has them locked up. I love how what you did is you had students gradually, as they were winning games, unlock the levels. And then she also had her cards already underneath that black butcher paper. I know that somewhere along the line, somebody had a question of, is there any way to do this game and not have to change the cards? If you do the physical display, no. But a good thing to do teacher work week or in the next couple weeks is go ahead and get that free resource and go ahead and print and cut them and put them down in a file folder. That way, just as soon as you're ready to play the game, they are ready. And another thing that I like that Krystal said was there's no lag time for her. She made sure that she was ready to go from game to game to game, because never underestimate, and I know that that's why you guys are all here, the power of motivation and instruction. Motivation and instruction go hand in hand, and that is what this Super Improver game is all about.
You've got it. And if you're looking for, because you're going to need multiple colors to go all the way up to the top. I get the Astro Brights regular copy paper. I don't even do cardstock. And I actually get them all ready ahead of time. And I keep them, oh, I should have brought it. I keep them inside of one of those photo boxes where you have the different little squares that you, or not squares, but they're little photo containers where you keep the star cards in there ready to go for the next level. And that way I have everything organized for the entire year. That also brings me to one part of what we like to do too, is I will also put one of the trading cards in there for the next level. So I'll have, say I have Turtles star card, and I have, let's see, so I have Penguin star card in with Turtles, trading card. That way I have both of them there together and I'm ready to clip it onto a certificate, and then I'm able to send the star card home, and then my students keep those trading cards. Now, we're not going to go through trading cards today just because of time, but it is just a kind of a cool way to keep those organized. And you can find me over in Instagram, and I also have a video of exactly how I go through and I keep that all organized. So Megan, one of the other cool things about this is we can look at the Super Improver ladder in a tiered approach. So the first tier that we can kind of focus on, like we had said, was that class goal. So we're looking to give about 5 stars per day plus any notable behavior changes or goal meeting that we see within those classrooms. So what is tier number 1?
Tier number 1 is just your most basic. If you are just starting Super Improver or you've just unlocked it, you're going to have a class goal. You're looking for the same thing from everyone, and you're looking to award 5 stars a day. It is a long, long year. So in the beginning, make those stars super difficult to earn.
You've got it. And then when we get to tier number 2, this is where we might be giving some individual goals to students, especially those small attainable goals. Like if you just sit in your seat for 5 minutes, let's work on that star. Or if I can have you raise your hand instead of blurting out, you're going to get a star. And we use those for those little kind of tokens that we want to kind of differentiate from the rest of our class. So what is tier number 2?
Tier 2 is when you are giving individual goals to students. So just like Krystal said, that could be a simple goal. It could be behavior, or it could even be something academic. But this is where it gets a little bit more personalized to each student.
And then tier number 3 is going to be where you're going to allow students to set their own goals. I really used this within my upper elementary and middle school levels, where students really needed to kind of own what they knew they needed to improve on. And so I would allow my students to set an academic and a social goal each half of the year. And we were looking for those goals to be met with those students. So they're really kind of owning in on that goal setting and creating. So what's tier number 3?
Tier number 3 is when you allow students to set their own goals. And I love, Krystal, how you let them kind of pick both. You let them pick a behavioral and an academic goal.
Absolutely. And then after Christmas, we're going to start raining some more stars down because like you said, girl, it's a long school year, but we have to make it to 275 if we really want to get students all the way to the top. Not everybody has to get there though, but we want to start giving out some more of those stars. And then tier number 5 is when oh man, this is around testing season. And when I said we were giving out stars after Christmas, this is when they're really going to rain down. So Megan, give me 4 and 5 together.
4, after Christmas, you're going to make it drizzle a little bit. You're going to award them a little bit more. In tier 5, if you are mirroring my gestures, you're going to that's your final one. It's after spring break. Everybody's tired. The forks are sticking out of everybody because everybody is so done. And you are going to make it rain, money in the bank.
Yes. Now, Megan, we really want to just kind of close this up with different ways that our students can be able to earn these stars. So as you see here, we have behavioral ways that students can earn stars. And then we also have those academic ways that students can earn stars. So of course, those behavior goals are going to be things like following directions, being kind, using brainies, big gestures, manners, following those classroom rules. So what are some of the behavioral ways, Megan, that our students are going to be able to earn those stars?
Behavior, I think rules is a beautiful way to connect it. But another thing that you have here is the use of brainies, those big gestures. And my all-time favorite is that glorious kindness.
Yes, you've got it. And then of course, academics, because we don't just want to award the student for being a good kid. We don't want to award them for being smart, right? We want to allow them to see where they're currently at and what they need to do to grow. One of my favorite things that I read out of the new book was where Coach talked about how if you have a student who's always been 2 grade levels ahead, okay, and why is my student not at the very top of this ladder? Well, think about it. If they're at the very top of or if they're 2 grade levels ahead now and they're not working to improve, well, next year they're only going to be a year ahead. And then the year after that, they're going to be with everybody else. So we always, even with those students who are academically sound, we still want them to be increasing their understanding as well. So really kind of think about how we can, kind of amp it up a little bit. So we can do things like our super speed games. We can increase minutes read for our, any kind of speed test that we do with them. And one of my favorite to do is in the beginning of the year, we take their scaled score on a diagnosis test. And we're going to take that score and anything that they improve throughout the rest of the year, they get stars for that as well. And that's when I really do kind of rain those stars down, because they're working hard to improve on those academic goals. And since we start with a diagnostic, that's their level, they're only improving on their level. So Megan, what are some of those academic ways that we can show for improvement?
Thank you, Krystal. So you can absolutely cater this to your division. We know that our audience goes all the way across the United States and even the world in some cases. So make sure that you cater this to what your division already asks you to do, I think is a really good way to think about this. But multiplication with those super speed games, how many minutes that you are actually reading, we're building that stamina, right? Maybe you want to tie it to words a minute. Maybe you are required to do a diagnostic where they are kind of against themselves. So that would be a good one. Writing is always a good one. I know that that's always difficult with the population that I work with. And then just showing your work for math problems. Any of those things. This is just really the tip of the iceberg, Krystal. You can award stars for anything.
Exactly. And so I think we're kind of at that point where we've shown you what it is that we're doing. We've told you some really great facts. Megan, can you go all the way through as fast as you can to teach them again, or just refresh everything that we've learned so far about Super Improver, how to set it up in your room? You ready, girl?
Y'all, I thought I was sweating earlier. I am ready. One,
right.
You want to make sure that you set up this colored ladder, starting with your white turtle, all the way ascending up to that peregrine falcon. The second part is making sure that you've got a student card for each one of your students and also yours. If you are departmentalized, make sure that you just have one per period. Make sure that you as the teacher are in there. And the third one is having that whole, in order to start and unravel this thing or unveil this thing, excuse me, I'm so cool. Make sure that you have one pretty big improvement goal for everybody in your classroom to earn stars.
Whew, that was great, Megan. You got this. All right, so I think this is the time, Weston, when I can add you back to the stream. And now we're gonna kind of go through some questions and all that fun jazz. So how's it going,
Ladies, you guys were
backstage?
fire. Great presentation.
Awesome, thank you.
So sweet. It's raining stars. Hallelujah.
Megan's here.
We had a couple of questions that you answered throughout the presentation, so I won't bring those up about Starries or the trading cards. But one person did ask about the name cards on the wall. Do the name cards need to be on the wall, or can they be on the individual student's desk?
So I personally like them up on the wall because I know how it is when students are sitting there picking at things on their desk. I've taken it one step where I had them put their goals on a sticky note on the corner of their car, of their desk, and I use that a little bit more with like their Alpha Hawk. But I personally prefer them up on a wall. The other part to that is there are going to be students who, I mean, this would never happen, Weston. This would never happen, right? Never would happen. But there might be students who get a little bit, they're going to draw their own stars. Let's just
Jackish.
Yeah.
Wild jackish.
Yeah. And we can't let them have their own control over their own star card on their desk. So I personally prefer to keep them up on the wall.
Thank you.
So what kind of questions can we highlight? Let's go through. What did you see anything else, Weston, that kind of...
Those were the big ones as we were going. A lot of whole brain teaching veterans and certified teachers were answering questions as we went. A lot of engagement. I think we're pretty caught up.
Nice. That never happens. If you do have a question that hasn't been popped up yet, go ahead and type it down in the chat and we'll stay around for a little bit and answer some questions. But I am so thankful that you guys were my first Facebook live StreamYard. We did it. I won't lie. It was a little bit nerve-wracking in the beginning. I think because I can see everybody's little comments, the hearts and the likes, and there was a not so happy face. And so I was a little bit like, oh no, what did I do wrong? So I'm so happy that you guys were all here to kind of help us along. Thank you, Carrie.
Ooh, this says, Krystal, teachers are the only ones that award stars. Students don't do their own.
That is a great question. So this is completely up to you and how you run this in your classroom. I often know that it's just going to be the teacher's preference on this. I don't allow my students to draw them in the beginning, but I also taught upper elementary. And so as I started giving more control over to my classroom, I would allow students to put stars up on the chart or up on their star cards. But we had a specific marker that we would use. That way I knew where they were getting the stars from and such, so that we didn't have any inflation of their star cards. So great question, Carla. Teachers don't have to be the only ones. There's no whole brain teaching police. You can kind of make it work for you. So whatever you choose to do.
Well, this has just been fabulous, you guys. If you guys, obviously you were on Facebook on the Super Improvers page, there is another whole brain teaching presentation coming at you in 3 minutes. So we have had the most awesome time. Thank you, Krystal. Thank you, Weston. And please be sure to email us if you have any questions. We're happy to answer those. This has been
Yes.
awesome.
Actually, I don't think I can from here. My email is Krystal Long, Krystal with a K, at wholebrainteaching.com. Megan's follows the same pattern, first name, last name. And Weston, what is yours?
Mine is the same pattern, Weston
Perfect.
Lamb Costantino.
Perfect.
Whole brain teaching.
All right. So if you guys have any questions and you want to let us know, go ahead. I also invite you to find me on Facebook and send any questions that you have. And we'll make a post at the end of this where we're able to just kind of answer any more of the questions that are there in the broadcast chat. All right, everybody. See you later. And thank you so much for being here with us. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, guys.